Welcome back to Jamming Games. I am Steven, he is Tim. We got, it's red-black mid-range, kind of the scourge of the format against...
It's the scourge or the Jund of the format.
Yeah.
One man's scourge is another man's Jund.
Gruul cars on the left. How's this matchup, Tim?
Gruul cards, the vehicles deck is a deck because of how favorable it is into Rakdos midrange.
Oh, is it really?
Yeah. Rakdos really struggles against the just the thickness and the sheer top end. This is kind of plays out a lot like I heard someone say that Pioneer today is pre-Horizons modern, and if that's true, and that the Rakdos is the Jund of the format, the vehicles deck is kind of the Ponza of the format, and Ponza, like Gruul vehicles, exists
To prey on Jund.
to prey on Jund, yeah. And this deck exists to prey on Rakdos. It could, we'll see how it shakes out. I mean, but then again, the value of Jund and the value of this Rakdos deck, or Jundy style decks, is just great top decks, the best removal, attrition-based strategies, and then sticky threats that pull through, hence the Graveyard Trespasser.
Yeah, well, you see the turn one Thoughtseize, you took the Esika's Chariot, and Rakdos doesn't want to go down on cards.
Totally. That card, the Esika's Chariot, the two cards that really are well positioned in the format because of Rakdos are Esika's Chariot and Wedding Announcement. They create, because if your deck is predicated on like efficient 1-for-1s, these 3-for-1s are a nightmare.
Who's this guy? This is a new one. This is
Migloz, the Maze Crusher.
Okay.
We got a reader here. This card's worth reading. I'm gonna try to freestyle here. I think it's 3, 1 in Gruul. It's a 4/4. Comes into play with maybe 5 oil counters on it, and then each there are 3 activated abilities that involve oil counters. I don't know the casting cost of all of them, but one is a buff. One it destroys artifacts or enchantments. Is that right?
I don't even know. My phone wouldn't load.
The card is bananas. It's but even just the fact of being a 3-mana 4/4 with abilities is pretty overrated.
Yep, it's hard to kill. It's sticky.
Is that a blood token?
Yeah, it is a blood token. So there's Blood Tithe Harvester and another, or that's the same Graveyard Trespasser for Jim on the right.
Stormseeker from Jared.
This deck is the Gruul deck is crazy.
Yeah, it really reminds me a lot of pre-Horizons Ponza.
Mm-hmm.
It really does. So
Jim's reading it too. No one knows what this card does.
I believe Jared registered 2 in his 75.
Correct, he did, yeah.
This was one of his speculative inclusions, and throughout the tournament, throughout the Swiss, it really paid dividends.
Funny
for him.
story. He was trying to get an Embercleave to replace one of them at the beginning of the tournament, and we didn't have any in stock. And so he said he was very lucky that they did not have them all day.
Happy accident.
Yeah. Oh wow.
So what are the activated abilities?
1, remove 1 counter. It gets Vigilance in minutes.
For 1 colorless.
Yeah, 2 colorless, remove 2. It gets +2 until end of turn. 3, remove 3 counters. Destroy target artifact enchantment. Card is insane.
Holy moly.
Card is crazy. Cool. So open up with the turn 1 Thoughtseize out of Jim.
This is game 2?
Yeah, it's a 1-lander with multiple elves. As a mono green player, I'll tell you, if your opponent has the right number of fatal pushes and/or extinction events, this can get you.
Oh yeah.
But always taking an elf, so he's trying to slow him down.
He has 3 others. Is that 3 other elves I saw, Steven?
Yeah.
Or is it 2 elves and a Skoos?
2 other elves and a Skoos, yeah.
Shocking, elf.
Yep. He drew a Den of the Bugbear, which is a 2nd land, but doesn't get any more green.
Yeah, I see it push out of Chitties.
Oh, runner lands, but it's not been any more green sources for Jared, unfortunately. Still probably going to be able to turn through your Reckless Stormseeker and try to start. Look how polite he crossed off the cards in his hand from Jim's list on the top right.
What a gentleman.
Jared's a guy. Jared's a real
Fable
guy.
the Mirror Breaker.
Yeah.
Turns out, really good card in mid-range mirrors.
When did you call that? When did you realize it was good?
When it was $7.
I didn't realize it. I just...
I know. I was sleeping on that card. I think a lot of people did. There's a great post where someone was, when the card got spoiled, and they'd played it in a limited setting in sealed or draft, and they were like, you all realize this is a better Seasoned Pyromancer. And Seasoned Pyromancer is very good.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's just the utility of this card is bananas. Also, two 2 unchecked reflection of Geekys on an late game is really a way to pull ahead.
It's almost impossible.
I mean, it's just not pull ahead. It's a way to close. It's a closer. And then also just the synergy in this Rakdos deck between the reflection of Geeky copying Blood Tithe Harvester that will have haste that can sacrifice that turn is just cuckoo bananas.
At our last RCQ, we had a guy who won a game by using his reflections to copy his Hive of the Eye Tyrants.
Oh, but you need to also...
Yeah, that just doesn't work. We didn't realize it until we were watching the footage.
It would work if you... But you also still have to pay...
Well, they enter the battlefield tapped.
Oh, they're tapped.
Not activated. They're just lands. And so
Interesting.
It was a mess.
I thought you had to pay to turn them into hives.
You would have to, yeah. They're just lands. They're not creatures.
Ay caramba.
So people just broke
Why
the
do they enter tapped?
Because they just say they enter tapped. You control 2 or more lands.
Oh, I see.
Not a problem. So we've been talking about other things. There's been a game going on in front of us this entire time.
No, we're talking about this game.
Looks like these
I
reflections
told you. So this is the scenario. Sorry to talk over you. This is that scenario we were talking about earlier, where, unfortunately for Jim, I mean, he does have treasures. The bottleneck is mana, but he will be able to produce as many reflections of Geeky during his opponent's end step, equal to the number of mana he has. And that it can just be backbreaking.
Oh, I didn't even realize you could do that when you have 2 of them. That's
so when you have 2
crazy.
of them, you end up with, if you have 2 of them and 5 untapped mana, you'll have 5.
So you use the reflection to copy
reflection at your end step, so then you will have them untapped during your turn.
Wow. So even they're good in multiples too.
Yeah.
Very nice.
Turns out, good card. We have a turn 1 Elvish Mystic, and then the counterplay, the turn 1 push.
Here's the Cindervines.
Cindervines, which is a card I have not... I don't know why does Cindervines come in this match? Just for the Fable?
Just so you can't grind him out. It taxes him the longer the game goes. So hopefully Jared can push some damage through early.
Oh, yeah.
And the Cindervines will punish Jim for trying to get back in the game.
And it is an answer to the Fable.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
I don't know what other enchantments would be relevant.
I think you're just using it for the passive, I would guess.
Yeah. I heard that people bring that in probably against Lotus Field or something, so you can't storm off. It's kind of some storm insurance.
Yeah. Nothing on 3 for Jared.
Yeah, that seems
strange.
weird.
Holding up a stomp for this half of the... There you go.
Okay.
Yeah.
At least you're only trading part of a card for a part of a card. It always feels bad when you trade a whole card.
It's so hard.
For a part of a card.
Between Graveyard Trespasser and the reflection, it's really hard to schedule your threats or your answers, I guess, in the mirror.
And making sure you always have something in the back pocket for Shouldered, which is the most game warping card, I think, in the format. Maybe the most game warping card in Standard as well. It really hasn't found a... I know that it's in Vintage Wheels decks. Sure. It's in Mono Black Prison decks and Legacy. The only format where Shoulder really hasn't made large headway is Modern.
Yeah. It's pretty expensive for Modern. It's a high mana cost.
It's interesting, though.
Here's
Hey, speak of the Queen.
What are you saying? So discarding those 2 to get 2 fresh looks here.
Yep. I wonder why the discard of Shouldered. He just needed untapped land? He must have another Shoulder. There's no way.
I think it
just takes
it's
over.
A fatal push. I don't know. It may just not be the game for it. Who knows?
It's always the game for it.
We were talking to a guy in Phoenix who said it was a 3-turn clock, which is something I didn't realize. It closes the game out so fast, so you get a little bit of an edge and the game's over. So revealing a Boseiju and this.
It looks like it was Lukka.
Bound to Ruin.
Bound to Ruin, which is basically Fury at home. It is, dude. The card is bananas.
All right. Scavenging Ooze eating that Shieldred out of the graveyard.
Interesting. So it looks like Jim was... I would only assume Jim had another Shouldred and was looking for untapped land to cast his Shouldred.
That makes some sense, yeah.
If I had to guess.
Yeah. Question is, what do you want to do? Because Jared's got 2 answers to this Fable of the Mirror Breaker here.
It's not an issue yet.
Yeah. Well, once it flips, is it still an enchantment or is it just creature?
It is an enchantment creature.
Yeah.
Non-legendary enchantment creature.
And
go for the throat.
There's so many little niche, like Walk the Plank, Go for the Throat. The new one that doesn't kill
Power
heroes.
Word,
Yeah,
Kill.
yeah.
Power Word, Kill, and Go for the Throat are kind of the removal of choice. Although Jim, everyone was kind of bringing some Frexia, Owl will be one spice. Jim's was the Shoulder's Edict, and there is Shouldered. So I feel that we're sensing that Shouldered and needed an untapped land.
Yeah.
The mini game begins, and there is a pretty powerful counterplay in the form of Esika's Chariot. Kind of a card Rakdos does not like to see, although a grindy game now favors Jim, given the Shouldered.
Yeah, the longer this game goes, the more Jim's going to get ahead, I believe.
Yeah. I love about Shouldered is it, like Planeswalkers, it creates a mini game where it all becomes about Shouldered.
Mm-hmm.
I talk about cards I undervalued at pre-release. Did you think? I thought it was a cool commander card.
Was a Timmy bullshit card that no
I undervalued it. Yeah. I was like, oh, Shouldered, cool. I mean, like
that's great. I'm really
yeah, Shouldered.
Yeah, I really didn't think it would be what it was.
A Braid was backbreaking there.
Yeah, that combat trick is pretty crazy.
Is Jim on a main deck a Braid? Is that a meta call or is
it looks like he's got 2 in the board. Doesn't seem like he has any in the main.
Okay, 2 in the 75.
It's not insane to run in a Braid in the main deck. A Braid's just a high value card.
Yeah.
People play Strangle.
It's well positioned. Strangle's a good card.
Yeah.
But Boat's got some. It's funny that Boat's really kind of looks for Obliterating Bolt, and when it doesn't have access to all that powerful black removal.
Yeah.
It looks like a Lair of the Hydra from Jared.
Jared's going to be pushing damage. I don't know if I don't think Jared has a better attack, I guess is what I'll say.
Sure.
Like the routes out of this game are
so what does he
limited.
do? He can take a kill or he can trade for the den.
Yeah.
He'll take the kill on the token.
The cat token, yeah.
He takes.
And so again, like you said, this Shieldred's really the only thing that matters.
Yeah, look at it. He's going to draw. And it also, when you have a Shieldred out, it increases the utility of an already powerful card, like Fable the Mirrorbreaker, where suddenly its discard to will net you 4 life.
I know.
And in a grindy match like this, that is everything.
Oh, and that'll be it for the game.
That'll be it.
Thanks for watching.